Everyone got those couple of NBA players that they thought was gonna be stars, that they thought was gonna be next up.
All right, so today we're gonna be talking about a blast from the freaking past. Look at D Wade pointing to this man like he was gonna be nice, man. All right, so I'm sure a lot of you guys remember this draft, and Justise Winslow being the guy that the Miami Heat drafted, despite the fact that Pat Riley had a FaceTime with Devin Booker and he went to Kentucky, and it seemed like that should have been the pick. Although at the time, Kentucky was doing what they did with Bam, where like they kind of like used players to their strengths, where it was like he was mainly taking threes. And a lot of people's like, oh, I knew he was going to be nice. But yeah, the scouts were like, oh, yeah, he's a 3-point specialist. But Justise Winslow, I think, wasn't supposed to fall all the way to Miami. And Miami said, hold on, we just lost LeBron. We need a small forward replacement that can play defense and score. And in college, he was jumping over everybody. And I was reading the comparisons before we drafted Justise Winslow, and they're like, oh, he's a lefty, and he could be like the next James Harden. And then I watched the tape, and I was just kind of like, he went to Duke. I don't see it. Honestly, I'm not a fan of Duke players. I mean, it's a little bit different in this era, but even like Pablo Banchero, or whatever the hell his name is, I'm not really hyped about him. Duke players outside of Kyrie Irving and even Jason Tatum is like, I mean, Jason's all right. I put Jason on the list of the Duke players that I respect. I like Jason Tatum and Kyrie Irving, who just couldn't stay healthy. My biggest problem with Duke players is that they always used to get hurt all the time. And Justise Winslow was that same situation. I mean, I think in his rookie year, he had messed up his shoulder. And there'll be times where he'll be consistent from threes, and then he just was inconsistent, and then he was just blowing wide open layups. But yeah, this photo is always going to be funny. I was going through my old photos, and I saw this picture of Wade pointing to him, and some of us really was like, hey, give him a chance, man. And I remember when he got drafted, I said no, and then I said, you know what, I'm gonna give him some time. And they just kept giving him chances after chances, and it just never worked out. And he ended up saying, oh, he had like mental issues he was dealing with. But yeah, I just think, some players are just really good at high school and college, and they get to the NBA and they're just not that great. I mean, people from his area in Houston are like, yeah, he was a menace in high school. I had to go up against him. He dropped 20 points and 20 rebounds and 10 assists, and he was just a beast in high school. And then obviously he won a national championship in college along with the guy that Philly drafted, which was what was his name again? Okafor, who just looked like he was in the wrong era.